Welcome back to Global News Morning. Always a pleasure to have you join us. You're just in time for our weekly visit with Matt Lee. We're talking about Kingston and area real estate numbers. February stats have been released, and in a word, big numbers here, Matt. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning. How are you?
Very well. Let's
Good.
start off with quantity listed. Take us back 1 year ago. We knew about COVID. We didn't know
Yeah.
its effect that it would eventually have on the world.
Yeah.
Locally, we were watching to see how things were happening, but what a difference a year makes.
Yeah. So we started to really roll into this. The January, I don't think the numbers really were affected. February, you started to see that, and then March, we'll see those numbers will definitely separate. But February this year compared to last year, we actually are up 37% in regards to new listings coming on in February. Couple things there. One is the market has been very busy. People are kind of pushing through the winter for more than one reason. I think that we were under a lockdown essentially from the middle of December to really the end of January, and people are starting to get out there. Our city is green. They're feeling more comfortable in listing the houses, but also that the market's really carrying through because nobody really went anywhere. So really, they're thinking if we're going to be doing something, everybody's still here, the market's still moving. Why not do it? It doesn't matter if it's minus 20.
37%, a big jump. Another big number
Yeah.
here, 26%, and that is the median price between February of this year and February of last year.
Yeah, like this one, the median, you take that, and it was $370,000 was the median price that we were looking at last year, and we've jumped to $465,000. So there's a couple things that kind of come into play with this. Main one, supply and demand. You're seeing that there's, and it's a lot of local. Like, I mean, you do have people that are coming from out of town, and we do get these questions. There's a lot of Toronto driving this, and what I see personally is that there's a mix. It's a lot of local people doing a lot of stuff, but you've got an interest rate of 1.7, 1.6, 1.8, 5-year fix, and like that used to be a variable rate. And I look at this and we say, that takes your payment down. And then people look at it and say, well, I can afford this amount. It allows them to get approved for a higher amount, and we just kind of push forward with that. So I think that all of those things come into play.
Very attractive interest rate numbers there.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Quantity active, this has gone down 34%. Explain this.
So we've been doing this for 4 years now. We talked like even in 2017 that the BMO and RBC had forecasted that there was going to be the market was shrinking in regards to listing, a lack of listings that was going to happen for 3 to 5 years. So this is something that has happened over the last 3 to 4 years. If we saw a graph, you would just see this continuously drop. What we're seeing is the active rate was 986 last year at this time. So 986 listings were on the market in the Kingston board. This year it's 649. So you've taken a third of that market. So when you see the median price going this way and the listings going this way, that's telling you that it's a supply and demand.
Another big number here, 106.1% in the sale price to list price ratio. Big.
Right. Yeah. So you list your house for 500 and it goes for 6% above list is the average. So you're saying that if you took 20 houses, you're saying that there would be a certain amount that would basically the average would push that up. So some could go for 520, some could go for 510. A few may go for less, but it's equaling out that you're at 106% of list price.
Well, proof that this is a hot market is the expired listings is only 4.36%. That's not a big number.
So I like to include these. We've been looking at these for a long time, right? We were actually floating around that 20% for a long time. We had talked that there was like 21%. And then all of a sudden we got into 19 and 17%. And I said, we got to watch that number because that 17% expiry, that's starting to shrink a little bit. And all of a sudden we've hit a 4% just like that. So now you're starting to see that there's only 4% that are expiring. I think that you need a little more data on that. You need 3-4 months. to see that if that, because maybe there was a lot of contracts that were signed that didn't expire in February. Maybe they listed in December and they're going to expire in March. So we have to look at this and say, okay, or was it that most of those listings that listed, they sold instead of expiring? So we just need a little more data, but that's a very interesting number.
Days on market, only 19.
Right. So we shrunk again. We went from 30 to 19.
Oof.
So days on market is now you've got this window that is shrinking in. So things are happening faster, and they're happening consistently, and we're low on supply. This is happening across the board. I'm talking to people, that are in Ottawa. I'm talking to people that are in Peterborough. I'm talking to people that are in Cobourg, and the lack of supply is across the board in central or in southern Ontario. When you start talking about different provinces, different things come into factor. If we're talking Alberta, that's a totally different thing because their oil and gas has changed. You start talking BC, their market starts earlier because they've got warmer weather. So you start to see these waves that happen in different places. But Southern Ontario, we're seeing a lack of supply really across the board, and then that's what's driving those prices.
Great place to be because you're here.
Yep, that's right.
Yep, because you're here.
Exactly.
We'll see you, Matt. Thank you.
Take care. Bye now.
Real estate tips brought to you by Matt Lee of Royal LePage.